Hello, Aries, and welcome into your reading for the second half of September. Today we'll be taking a look at jobs and careers, love and relationships, and then life path and mission. So the first thing that we'll do is take a look at what crystal the divine is encouraging you to work with for the second half of the month. So let's pull one here and see what comes out. Amethyst. So this is about spiritual expansion, beauty, and purification. So this one is amethyst, that nice purple. So that is going to be your stone to work with. And now before we get into the specific areas that I had mentioned, we're going to start with what is the general energy read. So a few things that are happening this month. On the 15th, Mercury is going to be going direct. So that should help kind of alleviate some of these, some of the heavy energies that I know a lot of people have been feeling. Mercury retrograde has a lot to do with like communication, technology, traveling, timing, things like that. So once that goes direct on the 15th, the rest of the month, everything's going to be stable. So we do still have Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, and Jupiter all in retrograde, but nothing else goes direct or nothing new goes retrograde for the second half of the month. So the only things that we have is on the 23rd, the Sun enters Libra, which is going to be about fairness and balance and partnership. So you're going to have that desire for peace and harmony, like kind of the whole, I'm done with the drama. Just give me some peace and harmony. And then on the 29th, we have our harvest moon. So that's going to be our full moon in Aries, so in your sign. And that's going to be really energizing for Aries. So one of the things to kind of beware of is you might be a little bit shorter tempered, but this is going to be a really good time for you to align with your mission because you'll have access to your conscious and your subconscious mind during that time period. So you'll really be able to focus on what it is that you're most interested in, and especially with North Node in your sign as well, where it's pushing you to really step into your true authentic self, that should be very helpful. So your overall energy is the energy of the world, the Five of Acorns in reverse. So acorns are wands, so that's the Five of Wands in reverse, and then the Knight of Crystals in reverse, and the crystals are pentacles. So overall, your energy, the energy of the world, that's kind of that completion, that triumph, that fulfillment. So you have that sort of energy going on. Your Five of Wands in reverse is about resolution, finding solutions, finding peace. And then your Knight of Pentacles in reverse is going to be a little bit of like this irresponsible or like lazy or dull energy. So it's almost kind of like you've gotten to a point where you feel like you've reached completion in regards to something, and that you've gotten like this. So that Five of Acorns, that Five of Wands. So you've gotten that peace, that resolution, that solution, but it's kind of pushed you to a point of laziness, almost like, oh my gosh, I made it through this. Now I just need to have a little bit of space to breathe. So, because work like that can be tiring. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what comes out in the different aspects we had talked about, and then we can see maybe which of these energies is aligning more with certain areas of your life, because that's like your overall energy. So let's see. All right. First things first, we're looking at job and careers. So let's take a look. In the recent past, we've had Two of Pentacles currently sitting in the Hanged Man in reverse, with the next level of energy or the kind of likely outcome type of scenario being the High Priestess in reverse. So you've been in the situation where you've kind of work-wise been juggling two different options, or juggling priorities and dealing with change, and like weighing out some of the decisions about what you should be doing, which has kind of led you to a little bit of a place of, I'll call it needless sacrifice and kind of some indecision and resistance and some delays. So you've been trying to figure out what to do, and it's kind of just leaving you stalling out right now. So the next level that's going to be coming in, though, is some uncertainty and it's a little bit of a conceited energy. Sometimes it has to do with secrets as well. So if you've been trying to make a decision, maybe you're not sharing, it looks like you're not necessarily sharing your logic or sharing your decision with people that are close to you. So from a secrets perspective, that maybe you have different motives for why you're weighing one thing one way or the other. And with this Hanged Man is, kind of that, when we talk about needless sacrifice, is maybe you've been trying to weigh out these two options, and rather than making a decision, you've actually been trying to do both. So you're needlessly sacrificing yourself, and there's a little bit of this indecision, like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to keep my head down in the boat and row harder until I figure it out. So rather than forcing yourself to make a decision, it's kind of like, I'm just going to delay that decision. I don't want to make it. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. So let's take a look and see, I guess, or actually here, let's do a timing card. So since this is kind of that sense of uncertainty and not really knowing what to do, and that's for, as we're looking at the second half of September, let's take a look and see what's the timeline for you being able to figure out what direction you want to go work-wise. What's that timeline in the next 6 to 12 months? So it looks like it will take you a little bit to kind of figure out that balance point about what you want to do as you're weighing these options from a work perspective. So it will give you some time to think about that. With Saturn still being in retrograde until early November, that is really having you look at how to attain your goals. Where are you investing your energy? And so some of it can be a matter of, whatever this decision is that you're weighing, how do you want to bring that into alignment? And some of this, juggling priorities and dealing with change. So it may not even necessarily be that you have two different job things that you're considering. It could be that things are changing from a job perspective, and you need to figure out how does that incorporate into the rest of your life. So with this juggling priorities, and you're trying to figure that out, it's, what am I going to allow to take priority in my life? Am I going to have work continue to take priority, or am I going to let other things take priority? And that's kind of a big decision. And in terms of dealing with change, maybe you have allowed your work to take kind of center stage. And then to some extent, you need to ask yourself, why? Is it because it really truly lights up your soul that you're allowing it to take center stage? Or is it because you're using that to cover up feelings of lack? Like that maybe you felt like you weren't good enough in other areas, but you're really good at your job. So it's like, oh, well, let's just, pour all this energy into it because that's where I'm getting my validation, or that's where I'm getting my strokes. So that's kind of what things look like from the job perspective, that within the next 6 to 12 months, you'll kind of be coming to a more balanced, even point where you feel like you're not having to juggle the priorities as much. So taking a look at love and relationships in the recent past, we have the World. In your current energy, you have 5 of Pentacles, and in your future energy, you have 3 of Swords in reverse. So here's this World energy that's coming in. So your overall World energy, that there is this sense of fulfillment, or validation or completion of something in a relationship standpoint. And that's kind of leaving you in this Five of Pentacles energy, that's kind of that energy of being out in the cold, and really being in a sense of hardship and struggle. So it could be, sometimes the world is seen as this, everything's wonderful, but it also, when you look at the progression of the major arcana, and when you look at it talking about a story or a lesson, it's not necessarily the story of somebody's life from card 0, the Fool, to card 21, the World, and then you live in that bliss of 21 for the rest of your life. Look at it as it pertains to certain life lessons. So in a relationship, if you've gotten to this point and then now you're feeling kind of, like you're struggling, it could be that a relationship has kind of come to completion. So you've triumphed over that lesson that you were supposed to learn with that relationship, but now it's leaving you in this sense of struggle of, well, what do I do about it though? Like that I've kind of gotten to a point where I think I've learned what I can learn from that relationship, and now it's time to do something different, but you're struggling with that. The next level of energy coming in is the Three of Swords in reverse, which is an energy of optimism and forgiveness and moving on. So, normally in the upright, it's about heartbreak, but in the reverse like that, it's about moving on. So this definitely has a feel of, you've learned some lesson, and now it's a matter of getting past this point of feeling like there's this struggle and this hardship so that you can move on, to a more happy place, happy, loving relationship place. And remember, in the overall energy with your Five of Wands in reverse, this is that peace and resolution. And so it's kind of like, how do you bring that peace and resolution in here to be able to move things forward in your life in a happy, peaceful way? So let's take a look at a timing card here as well for the timing of when that seems to take place, like this, moving on to that place of like happiness and fulfillment. Okay. Once you fully surrender to the divine. So some of it is, as you move through some of these energies, these are things that they are pushing on you. It's a matter of, do you acknowledge it, and do you acknowledge its place in your life? So remember, with Amethyst, we're working on spiritual expansion, beauty, and purification. So on the spiritual expansion part of it, it's that sense of acknowledging, yes, so these forces are in play, whether you're acknowledging them or not. So this whole thing of, once you fully surrender to the divine, then you'll be able to move on. Like when you can kind of distance yourself and say, like, as opposed to, I'm in this situation, this is happening to me, what do I do about this? There was this wonderful analogy that was used, and it was an online group that I'm in, and they're talking about, before you incarnate and you decide what lessons are you coming down here to learn. So it's almost kind of like, imagine yourself sitting around a table, saying, okay, well, this is the game I'm going to go play down on Earth. This is the play that I'm going to live out down on Earth. And me as the main character, this is the story that I want to tell. And it's almost like you're sitting around a table with your friends, and one friend says, like, say if your lesson is to learn to stand up for yourself, stand in your strength, type of situation. If you are a twin flame, or you believe in that, where the soul splits before you incarnate, then that would happen at the time. But then you also have other soulmates, which don't necessarily have to be romantic. They can be friends, parents, work colleagues. But you're sitting around a table with all of them, and they'll say, okay, yep, I'll raise my hand. I'll be in your play. I will be your, one of your parents who is very difficult to get along with, but you have to learn how to forgive them. And someone else says, okay, well, I'll be your spouse. I'm going to mistreat you and push you to really stand up for yourself, so that you have to stand up and say, no, this is what I want out of my life. And someone else raises their hand and says, okay, well, I'll be your boss at work, and I'm going to, not treat you very well. I'm going to pass you over for promotions and raises and good projects, so that you have to stand up for yourself to me. And, you have friends that are kind of doing the same things. And some of these characters will be there, they'll say, okay, I will be one of the supporting characters, but I'll be there for the whole play. Others of them would say, well, I'll come in, I'll do the middle act, or I'll come in, I'll do a handful of scenes with you, and then I'll leave. So if you think of your life as a play and what is the overall message, then you can acknowledge as people come in and out that they signed up to participate in this play, but this play is still about you. It's not about them, it's about you. So even as you look at this, when we talk about once you fully surrender to the divine, once you understand that that's the dynamic, that, that some of these people are coming in and out of your lives at various points because that's what was kind of agreed to, it makes it easier to see what are the messages, what do I need to learn, what is going to, keep this play moving forwards, keep it on this arc that it's supposed to be on. All right. And last, we will take a look at life path and mission. In the recent past, you've had Ace of Cups in reverse, currently sitting in the Six of Cups in reverse. Sorry, sometimes when I'm looking at it upside down, I second guess it. And next level of energy is the Four of Swords. So in the recent past, the energy has been like, you've kind of been at a loss. Like there's been some creative blocks, kind of feeling uninspired. Like it has a sense of feeling unloved, but as it pertains to your mission and your life path, it's almost like you feel like you've been not supported, like you're not lovingly being guided to that path, almost like you've been stuck up here with the work stuff and you haven't been able to focus on this because you've been so focused up here, and maybe some struggles here. So that's put you in this Six of Cups in reverse, which is about leaving home and getting stuck, and you're focused too much on the past. So that's keeping you out of being able to embrace your life path and what really is your mission, because you're so focused on everything that's happened up until now. And the next level of energy coming in for you is this deep thought and rest and recuperation. So it's kind of like there's an awareness of the fact that you're not really inspired right now, and you don't feel like you're living your true life path and your mission, but you kind of just need to rest and recuperate and get your senses about you. So especially if there's things up here that are changing, it's almost like, okay, this is too much. I can't look at everything all at once. So I'm just going to rest, recuperate, put this on the back burner for now. And, I'll allow myself to think about this, but at some point when I get a little bit more mental bandwidth to think about it. So, and actually, let's see if we have anything from a timing perspective about when do we think some of this clarity about life purpose is going to come online, so to speak, or come to the forefront of your mind where you might get a little bit of a better sense of clarity when you stop focusing on it. So it's kind of that thing of, I guess, like a watched pot never boils. So if you're thinking about it too much, you may not come up with anything. But once you kind of put that to the side and work on getting some other pieces of your life feeling happier, then it feels like this is going to naturally kind of creep up there to where you just have that sense of, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. So I think it's going to kind of come up and creep up on you, almost take you by surprise a little bit. All right, let's take a look and see what moon card we have. Full moon in Capricorn, the end of a tough cycle approaches. So I'm going to put that here with this because this is so far kind of the toughest of these aspects. So the end of a tough cycle approaches. So we do have, I mean, even though, yes, you have some of this energy here of, you know, uncertainty, this Five of Pentacles, this kind of being out in the cold and, you know, that hardship and that struggle is really where, you know, the toughness part is coming in. So this does say full moon in Capricorn. We do have the full moon in Aries coming up at the end of the month. So usually the full moon is going to be the end of a cycle. So whether that ends up being truly waiting until full moon in Capricorn, I'm not sure exactly when that is. But in general, the end of the cycle approaches. This one was your jumper card, this loneliness. I know that I am never alone. So even though out in the cold, and the interesting thing, so here, you know, with her, she's alone at the end of this, of the world, at the end of the cycle. But then even out in the cold, even when you're out in the cold, you're never actually alone. So there's someone there with you. And that's part of your, you know, also keeping in mind, like with your soul tribe, that they're always there to help support you. And empathy. I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. So as you're making your way through some of these situations, you are a very empathetic person, and just make sure that you're balancing empathy with also making sure that you're focusing, you know, that North Node in Aries, you know, moved into your sign in July. Make sure that you're not putting other people's needs above your own, like to the point where it is becoming almost like this martyr syndrome. So this one was our jumper card. There's no shortcut to healing. And some of the times with empathy, you know, people that are always looking at, well, what about other people? Well, what about other people? Sometimes it's a sense of, you know, feeling like, oh, well, my thoughts, my feelings aren't important because it's a problem with self-esteem. So you do need to make sure that you're healing around some of these potential issues and balancing out, having that healthy level of selfishness, of taking care of yourself. Relief shall come quickly. So that's going here with the end of a tough cycle approaches. Relief shall come quickly. So this part is a little bit, you know, a little bit further out because it's, you know, in the next 6 to 12 months on the work perspective. But this, it's a matter of once you surrender to the divine, the end of this cycle is going to happen quickly. So there's no shortcut to the healing, but you don't have to be fully healed to get to this. It's once you're surrendering and saying, you know, I don't have to control everything, then you'll start to see some relief. So overall, even though there's some tough aspects in here, it looks like things are moving forward in a positive direction for you. So hopefully you found this to be helpful today and that there were some messages in here for you. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. If this is something that you think somebody else could benefit from, I welcome you to share it with them. There are a number of other videos that have posted recently and some new ones coming out within the next week or so. So make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell to be alerted when those new videos become available. Things like the pick a pile videos, message from your person, is this your person, twin flame readings, things of that nature. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time, bye-bye.